Hello, beautiful people. What's crack-a-lacking? It's Tamara on Tammy Talks. If you're a new listener, you're welcome to have a feel. If you're an old listener, you know the drill. It's your African baddie. Hi, guys. So, how was our week? Hope we are great. I had an awesome week, and in the awesomeness of my soul, I did a short film. Yes, highlighting the importance of decluttering your space. If you haven't watched it, don't worry, you're not missing out on anything. I'm going to post the link in the comment section so that you can have access to it. Once you finish listening to this, you can dive right into it and watch it. It's just about 2 minutes and a few seconds, so it won't take too much of your time. Okay, now let's move on. Today we're talking about easy ways to declutter your space, because I know a lot of us might just be trying to figure out, okay, where do I start from? Is it going to be easy for me? And all of that. Number one thing is for you to have your clutter goals. That's the first thing on your declutter mission. What does clutter goal mean? Your clutter goal means that you have a date. You intend to finish decluttering a particular space that is full of clutter. Okay, and usually those places that are full of clutter are called clutter hotspots. So if you're somebody who is artistic like me, I will regularly draw circles and say, okay, these are clutter hotspots I need to kill ASAP before cockroaches and lizards and lions not lions anyway, but before rodents and all those many funny animals begin to breed generations somewhere in the corner. So it's very important that you identify your clutter hotspots, and then you put a date in which you are sure you'll be able to complete it. I actually tell people to put a date range. If it's like the 2nd of July you intend to complete it, add like 2 days to it, so that even if you don't do it on the 2nd of July, or you don't complete it on the 2nd of July, you can complete it on the 4th of July. The second very important thing is your sorting system. And that is even the final thing. There are just 2 things: clutter goals and then sorting system. Your sorting system involves you knowing those things you are keeping, you are tossing, and you are storing. A lot of times, some people feel clutter doesn't really spoil anything. I have an emotional attachment to a certain thing and I cannot give it out. My sister, my brother, it's time for you to let go so that your blessings can come in. If you're an impulsive buyer, as you're buying, please give out so that you don't clog up your space. Okay? Now, when you're keeping things, it means things you usually use a lot of times regularly. The reason why we call it keep is because you want it to be within reach. You don't want a situation where you have to scatter everywhere to find what you are looking for. So if it's like your beauty shelf, if it's your wardrobe, if it's your kitchen, anything you are keeping should be something that you regularly use, so that it's not like you don't regularly use it and it's occupying space from you being able to see the rest of the items you have. Now, the tossing has to do with throwing away things that are damaged that somebody else cannot use. Tossing also involves throwing away spoiled food, food that has been in the freezer for a very long time, or expired products that you've bought on your beauty shelf, or things that have been damaged that another person cannot use. You can toss away. Now, the last method is storage. I usually encourage people to get the clutter boxes if they actually don't have a storage in their homes. And of course, those things in storage are things that are not things you use like 80% of the time, or would I say 50% of the time, in all fairness. Those kind of things are like things you use for parties. It's not every time you're hosting parties, or your travel boxes. Things that are seasonal can be put in the storage area. But things that that you would usually use that you don't use anymore can actually be either donated or put up for sale, or you can do an auction on them. I'm not against storage, but even if you have storage, don't let it become clutter in the process of keeping it. The reason is because sometimes the storage room can actually be a breeding area for some very wicked animals. I don't want to call names. But then let us keep the storage minimal. Even if we are keeping things in storage, let it be things that we use seasonally, not that we don't even use it at all, and then we are keeping it in storage. It doesn't make sense. Some people don't have enough. You need to teach your kids to learn how to give their toys or their things that they don't use anymore, so that you can actually donate to people who need it. And then for those electronics or bottles or scrap you have, dispose it properly so that it can be recycled. If you have like a Loma truck driving past your area, if you're in Lagos, Nigeria, you can actually give it to them. I'd like to also recommend, if you're looking for declutter boxes, Miniso is the best option in Lagos, Nigeria. You get fancy stuff at a very cheap rate. So if you don't have declutter boxes, it would be nice if you get one. I would also be doing an article on Medium later this week, and I'll be sharing it out so you can see graphical representations or pictorial representations of the effect of clutter, and then you would also see ways in which you can actually arrange your things so it doesn't turn to clutter. Okay, so I cannot choose for you and say, oh, you use this thing regularly, you don't use this thing regularly. If you know you don't use it regularly, just give it out, okay? You don't have to keep it and then say, don't worry. When I heard something, I'm sorry to cut you guys short. This is now gist. A friend of mine, she crossed over to size 12 and she was trying to lose weight to get to a size 10. She carried her 2 legs and traveled outside the country and bought size 10 clothes. Until today, she still cannot wear it. This is 2 years down the line. I mean, it could be a source of motivation for her, but it might not really be the best form of motivation for yourself. She has tried all she can, but it has turned to clutter. So I advised her to do like a closet raid, like to her friends, or she should just sell out those things. That is an example of stylish clutter that you put in your hands by yourself, okay? Anyway, I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to explain to you. I would leave you with these words. Think of the last time you used certain things. If they have been too long or you have not used them in 6 months, they are likely going to be clutter. And when you want to declutter, start small. Don't start from the big to the small. That is, you are starting with the small clutter hotspots before you graduate to the highest clutter hotspots. And if you need help, I'll advise that you ask. There's no harm in somebody helping you out. If you have better suggestions, comments, recommendations, or what have you, we're expecting it in the comment section as the listeners are waiting. Thank you for listening and stay tuned for the next episode next week Sunday. Thank you and bye-bye.